something that I wanted to talk about for a minute.
You are looking at the skeleton of a woman suspected of being a vampire in Poland in the 17th century.
Okay, I've seen this.
Discovered the remains last month. There's a sickle across her neck and a padlock on her foot. According to ancient beliefs, the padlock was supposed to prevent a person who died and thought to be a vampire from returning from the dead.
So what do you think of this?
Okay. Here's the thing. I think I've stated enough times that I don't have magical thinking.
Yeah.
And I think there were maybe more, percentage-wise, more people that had magical thinking in the past.
Yeah.
Probably population-wise, more people now. But, there's like 8 billion of us now. I think it's kind of funny. And I think it's all... Well, now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, I think it's funny, but yet I'm almost concerned of what happened to her.
Yeah.
Like, you think she just died, or you think they killed her?
Oh no, I'm sure that they probably killed her. I don't think that she just died of natural causes, because if she was suspected of being a vampire, back then, and like from the picture you can't tell, and they don't really describe it, but most of the time they would do something, try to throw stones at you or something large enough to like puncture your skull. Something.
Yeah, there was always the test in the past where they were like, if you pass this, then we know that you're a witch or a vampire.
Yeah.
But the test was always, let's try to kill them.
Yeah.
And then if they couldn't, then they were right.
Yeah.
But if they could, then whoops.
Yeah. Yeah.
But evidently with this person, they still thought, ooh, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what? She was buried under a sickle, so she rose from the dead. She would be decapitated.
Correct. Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
I don't get it. I guess I had more magical thinking when I was a child. And so I could see falling down that rabbit hole of going, well, maybe you don't know. But as an adult, I'm like, come on.
Yeah. I saw another story too that was similar, but it was like a adult female and a child kind of buried together. But the same thing, they were both thought to be vampires, and the same type of thing, like buried with a way to like prevent them from, coming back to life or rising from the dead if they came back to life.
I'm glad that we've progressed to a point where, at least I hope we have, that would be ridiculed nowadays.
Yeah.
If people were like, well, they're a vampire.
Yeah.
At least that part seems to be gone from our society. Nobody is being killed because they are believed to be a witch or something like that.
Right.
I don't know. I think, I guess it was a different time, but I just think, why? Like,
Yeah.
the question of, if you could travel back in time, what would you bring with you? Would you live as like a king or something because you'd have all this other knowledge?
Yeah.
And then the butt of that joke is always like, they probably kill you because they thought that you had supernatural powers. Like, well, in the future, I know that. Get them.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
Yeah. And I wonder what this person did to be suspected of a vampire. How to say most vampires are kind of allergic to sunlight, or sunlight is deadly to them. So is this someone who, never saw during the day? So that's something that they went by. Like, this person is never out during the daytime. Did they have like vampire teeth, large, what is it, your canines?
yeah, your canines would be bigger. Yeah.
Or even something like if they thought they kind of drink blood.
I don't even. I do like watching movies or TV shows or whatever about supernatural stuff or superheroes or vampires or whatever. But I don't even know what they believed back then, because wasn't it Bram Stoker's Dracula that really kind of changed everything for us?
Yeah, true.
And then what, there was the film adaptation, but they couldn't get the rights, so they did, was it not Nosferatu?
Yes.
So that kind of changed everything. And then in the modern day, of course, we've got Anne Rice.
Oh, yeah.
Who seemed to revolutionize everything and standardize, like, what are the rules to being a vampire kind of thing. But I don't know. I mean, what year was this? Did this happen?
Hold in the 17th century.
Yeah, I have no idea what they believed back then,
Yeah,
and where they even got the idea.
yeah.
Wait, when was Bram Stoker's Dracula written? Wasn't that in the 1800s?
I believe that was 1800s. You know, and we talked about this before. How I said that I don't know, the idea of vampires was something that I could get behind, and so I don't know. I mean, this is a little bit off topic, but
Wait, no, it was it vampires? Yes,
Yeah,
it was vampires because you said that you couldn't get behind zombies,
oh yeah,
which I believe
that's
feels
What?
more whatever. Okay,
Yeah.
we're not going down that again.
yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It is fascinating. It's terrible that this person had to go through this because they probably, well, I mean, you did mention it, so I don't know if they were like buried alive, or no, probably not buried alive. Probably killed before that, and then placed in the grave and with the sickle and the lock.
Right,
So, but yeah, just the idea of it. And I think that one of the biggest things I'll always say about history is like, it's always fascinating to me because a lot of the times it was the first like dealing with those things. Like it's sometimes difficult for us to look back on it because like we have the like the gift of like the hindsight.
Yeah.
But for the very first time, seeing somebody who, you perceive to be a vampire and is scary and has, whatever features that you might think is threatening to you, and then how do you cope with that and deal with that?
By the way, quick diversion. I looked it up. It's 1897 when it was originally
Okay.
published. Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Okay.
But I often wonder if you could just go, if you were living in that time, if people were so superstitious and science hadn't progressed to have given us the knowledge of our natural environment to the point where we could explain a lot of things. If you could almost make up anything,
Yeah.
if you could just be like, oh well, they were a time traveler from the future.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't it Orson Welles' War of the Worlds that was originally on the radio, and it caused mass panic because they did it in a manner where it sounded like a normal
Yeah.
radio broadcast. They even had like the news reporting it, like, we're under attack, and people were just going nuts. And I'm just thinking, do you think that would happen today? I mean, there's a lot of things online. I just haven't. The other thing right now is with all the different streaming and people on different platforms and things like that, we're all scattered. I mean, if you look at back in the day when this country only had the 3 television networks, every night people would be watching one of the 3. And if there was a popular show on, most of the country would be watching that. And you could get a viewer count of like 20, 30 million. And you just don't get that.
Yeah.
Even on very popular television shows now, you get a couple million. But maybe that's the problem. Nowadays, it wouldn't happen because, you might be into Netflix and I might be into YouTube and whatever,
Right. So yeah, something interesting to think about.